What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another late night edition of Golf on Tap. Today, we'll be going through our final bets for the Rocket Classic 2025. The PGA Tour heads into our neck of the woods, the Midwestern United States. But before we get into our final bets for this week's Rocket Classic, Joey, we got a couple of different things that we got to touch on first, because this is our first show that we've done since the U.S. Open at Oakmont went down. Didn't have a show, unfortunately, last week for the Travelers Championship. We'll get to that as well. But Joey Ricotta, the only man I know out there who was sick enough to place an outright wager on JJ Spawn to win the U.S. Open. Joey, you got to tell me a couple of different things here. One, how did you land on JJ Spawn to win for the first time since I believe the 2022 Valero Texas Open? Not only has he not won on the tour in 3 years, the only event that he's won at the time was a pretty non-competitive field. And two, just give me the synopsis of what that roller coaster ride was like on Sunday, because as we were touching on before we jumped on air, I thought JJ was absolutely cooked after shooting 40 on the front nine, even probably before that, right when he honestly doinked it off the flagstick on hole 2 and it rolled all the way back to his feet. I believe he opened the final round with 5 consecutive fives. So just give me the full spiel on what it was like to cash a ticket at the U.S. Open, because I truly don't know anyone else who could say the same.
First of all, incredible. I mean, let's just say that. It's just incredible feeling, because I've been so close this year on so many different guys, like T2s, and just like, I don't know, man. I feel like I've been right there. But yeah, you need a little bit of luck if you're gonna hit a JJ Spawn outright. Like, it's you don't think it's gonna happen when you place it, you know. I don't know, man. I can't tell you exactly. Like, my memory, my brain does not go back far enough to like help me go through my own process of back then, of like why I even did it. I could tell you a couple things. I know for sure that the model, however I inputted it that week, was leading me to JJ Spawn, and couple, the few different things that I somehow found myself like, okay, maybe this is good here as like a deep flyer. And I didn't take too many deep flyers. It's the U.S. Open. You don't do that. So like, just it being one of my one or two guys that are pretty deep, the fact that he was in there and just making it competitive. I thought, dude, just like you, I thought he was dead after like the first 5 holes. Like, this guy's done. Sam Burns has it, or someone. It doesn't even have to be Sam Burns up at the top is going to win this. He put himself through hell early on, somehow bounced back, a few incredible shots down the stretch.
Shout out the rain delay. Shout out the rain delay.
Yeah, rain delays help. Rain delays, we like rain delays in this house.
Big fan of rain delays around here.
Fly the W up there. You can see the flag if you're watching us live. We like Jason Hayward's speeches. We like all that stuff. But dude, I still can't believe that it happened, because I thought he was so cooked that, I don't know, it just feels awesome, man. Like, it's just like this last week, you have to have somebody to cough it up too. Like, you need a little bit of help, and we got the help we needed. And I was thrilled to hear you. I didn't know you were calling me. I'm like, I'm outside.
We got to get into that too.
I'm mowing my yard outside, and I come back in, and I got like 6 missed calls on my phone. I don't even know how many. Obviously, you're enjoying the hell out of yourself. I'm like, who is this calling me? Like, is it an emergency? What's going on? So I call, and I'm like, I don't remember who I thought it was, but it was like something going on, and I was, okay, maybe they were with my dad or something. Maybe, I don't know what I thought. So I call the number back. Nobody answers. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's something important. So I end up calling again or something. You end up calling me back, or got the number somehow, screenshotted it. You got to tell me this story. I don't know how the fuck that happened, but dude, I was just pumped to hear you on the phone. Like, dude, JJ Spawn, I'm on a fucking boat. Like, just riding that roller coaster with me from wherever you were at, enjoying yourself. It was a hell of I can't believe. First of all, I'm just mad because we didn't have a show that week, and no one even knows that I was on him.
I
Like,
know.
literally, no one even knows that I couldn't help anybody, which people probably wouldn't have tailed it anyways. Understandably so. It's JJ Spawn. But yeah, unfortunately, I have this one all to myself. Or fortunately, I don't know. I'll take it no matter what. But
You should get a plaque put up in your house. Be like JJ Spawn US Open ticket holder, because I don't know if there's another one of those across the country, dude. But to give some insight into the story that Joey is talking about, over the weekend of the US Open, it was one of my best friend's birthdays. We were out boating for the afternoon. Usual golf sicko that I am. I had the phone propped up in the corner of the boat, was checking what was going on all throughout Saturday's round. My phone's dying out there. I'm using every single drop of battery that I got to watch this U.S. Open. Still enjoying myself out on the boat. Don't get me wrong, but it looked like at the end of the Saturday, it was going to be, a 3 to 4 horse race with the way that the leaderboard was shaking up. And I just could not believe that JJ Spawn actually, in the pressure of a Saturday at Oakmont, let alone would he go on to perform better down the stretch of the back nine on Sunday at Oakmont. I couldn't even believe that he was there in the first place. And again, I couldn't believe you were sick enough to actually place a wager on him. So I tried to give you a call on my phone, but as I called you, my phone died. But here was the real gangster part of it. I kept trying to turn my phone back on, even though it had no battery. And then it finally turned back on. And I had enough time to open up your contact and take a picture of your phone number. So then I used my buddy's phone that I was using to call you and be like, JJ Spawn, dude, are you seeing what the fuck is going on right now? Because this is insane. He's contending and you have a ticket on him. So, congratulations, bro.
thank you.
I wish we would have been able to tweet it out, get it out there a little bit more the week that it happened. But regardless, that's one that you're going to remember for a long, long time. So
the fact that story, though, like just that story alone is fucking awesome, because that's
he went on to win. He went
on to win. And I like that. Now that I think about it, was one of the key factors was the bogey avoidance. Was one of the key things with JJ Spawn that I was looking at. If I remember correctly, like he's a guy that typically does a good job of avoiding bogeys, which that fucking final round
didn't
start that way. Mm-mm. And dude, Oakmont, my God, I know it's 2 weeks away now, or like not just, we're talking mostly about me getting the outright, but like I love Oakmont. It is
carnage,
unreal, dude. How many guys, like everybody is screwed at Oakmont and nobody is safe, and you're seeing the most outrageous scores get popped up there. Like I wish we had that every week.
Yeah, I love watching these guys get tested. I love when you miss the fairway or you miss the green. It's a true penalty. One I definitely enjoyed, and I know you certainly did as well, cashing that JJ Spawn ticket. Real quick before we do get into our Rocket Classic bets, got to bring up what happened last week as well real quick, because on this show in particular, Joey, we go through the odds boards a lot. We've done it numerous times throughout the years for plenty of tournaments, and there's a reason we call him Never Tommy.
It's rule.
Because guess why? Because it's never Tommy. Even when you think it can only be Tommy. Even when he's in a final grouping with Russell Henley and Keegan Bradley, they can't do shit all day long. You got a 2-shot lead with 5 holes to play. You got 6 feet for birdie on 14. Then you got a drivable par 4. He misses the 6-footer for birdie. Doesn't cash in on number 15, makes 2 more bogeys in the final 3 holes, and blows a 1-shot lead on the 72nd hole to let my boy Keegan Bradley, who of course I didn't have money on for like one of the few times this season, Keegs, for the second time in 3 years, cashes the ticket at the Travelers. But man, watching Tommy meltdown, this might have been the most painful one of them all. And I was on him at the Canadian Open when he couldn't birdie a 499-yard par 5 to win that golf tournament in regulation. I wasn't on him this past week, but that one hurt more to me, even watching it, man. It was brutal.
This, if he couldn't win that one, like, dude, it's so far into his head now at this point. it's not even funny. We're not making an assumption when we say that.
Mm-mm.
Like, dude, it is so in his head. Like, I don't understand any of the odds makers are going to put him under anything under 45 to 1 at this point.
In signature events.
I can't believe it. I can't believe he choked. Well,
I can believe it.
I can believe he choked big time. There's a reason why the rule here at Golf on Tap is never Tommy. But I just he's never going to do it, man.
His body language is so fucking bad on Sundays every time.
It's like he's walking on, like he's trying not to like step on a crack and break his mom's back or some shit. Like this kid, like he's got something like he's just sweating out of his ass. Like he cannot do it. It's so far in his head.
Did you see the camera angle that caught Tommy when he couldn't look at Keegan's putt? Did you see that yet? I'm gonna send it to you right now. I want you to watch it on air. I'm not kidding, Joey. It's truly one of it's truly one of the saddest things that he couldn't watch Keegan putt that last one because he knew he was gonna make it. And yeah, it's just kind of the synopsis of Tommy Fleetwood's career on the PGA Tour. We don't need to spend much more time talking on it, but it was just, I mean, a classic Never Tommy that we had to touch on for at least a moment here on the show.
Definitely need to watch this though.
Oh, go watch it. I want to see your live reaction here real quick. But before I get Joey's reaction, everyone, if you're watching, drop your favorite play for this week's Rocket Classic 2025 down below in the comment section. Let us know who you're tailing. Let us know who you're failing. But Joey, that was painful, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's just got like, it's like he's like crying into his elbow.
Yeah.
That sucks, man. That sucks. I feel bad for him.
Oh yeah.
But dude, I don't know. If he ever gets over the hump, it will be so many people that'll be celebrating. You know how much money people have lost on this guy though?
Oh yeah.
But he's made a shit ton of money. He's had a hell of a career.
He's made the sports books a lot of money. I'll tell you that. Him and Cam Young, who I'm sure we'll have a conversation on here in just a moment. But I think that brings us to the Rocket Classic 2025. Again, the PGA Tour heading into the Midwest. 7th time we've seen the PGA Tour hit Detroit Golf Club, and it's usually one of the biggest birdie fests of the year, Joey. We saw Bryson win at 23 under in 2020, one of my first golf outright tickets that I ever cashed, actually. Cam Davis has won here twice at -18. Those have both been the lowest scoring events that we've seen in Rocket Mortgage, now the Rocket Classic history. Tony Finau won at -26. Ricky Fowler won at -24. Another incredible outright cash for yours truly. Hence why I had to go with the Remembering Ricky tag for today's show. Because, Joey, I know you remember when we were having that summer, Ricky was having all those close calls. And I was saying all summer long, I'm like, this fucking guy's got to stop playing these high-level events. He's just got to bite the bullet and go play the Rocket Mortgage Classic and get over the hump. And I remember he was like 17 to 1 that week, which like for Ricky is absolutely disgusting. He hadn't won in like 4 years at that time, but one of the most satisfying cashes that I've ever had. But Joey, it's a big birdie fest. Detroit Golf Club, 7,370 yards, but as a par 72. So not a real long golf course, right? In terms of the breakdown, 3 of the 4 par 5s are going to be reachable, and 2 for the majority of the field, and are some of the easiest par 5s that we see on the PGA Tour. 4, I think 5 actually, of the 10 par 4s are shorter than 400 yards. Even the ones that are longer, the longest of the bunch is like 480. Most of them are shorter than 460 yards. So you're going to be having a lot of wedges in your hand, especially because guys can just kind of grip it and rip it around this place, right? Tree line fairways, but they're pretty wide. 4-inch fairway rough, but it's never really thick. It's usually dry season around this point in time in Detroit, so it's never all that penal from the fairway. Guys are still going to have short clubs in their hands. So the real breakdown of Detroit Golf Club, Joey, is it's just kind of a pitch and putt. It's, you know, who can hit their approach shots with their wedges the closest and who's going to be capitalizing and make the most birdies. So really just looking at a lot of scoring stats for this week. Strokes gained approach. I do think driving distance is beneficiary. Mm-hmm. You would probably like your guys in the outright market to have driving distance, but that's not also necessarily the end all be all. Aaron Rye contended here last year. We've seen Colin Morikawa contend here in the past, Adam Hadwin, but it feels like if you're not an elite driver in terms of distance, you probably got to have at least one of elite wedge play or elite putting upside, because you're just going to have to find enough birdies to, go and reach 20, 22 under the anticipated winning score. But I do have driving distance weighted a little bit higher, as well as just general strokes gained off the tee. Birdie or better gained, along with opportunities gained. Proximity, again, with wedges, 100 to 125 and 125 to 150. A lot of shots come from that range. And you also want your guys scoring well on the par fives, right? If you're making pars on the three that I talked about that are some of the easiest on the PGA Tour, they're going to be feeling like bogeys. It's truly kind of an interesting week to go about the odds board, because it's not the deepest field in the world. There are a couple good names up top, but I think you could make cases for lots of different guys from down the odds board. So that's kind of my breakdown of Detroit Golf Club. It's going to be getting a renovation after this year, which is honestly much needed, because there's really nothing to this golf course, dude. There's one water hazard. The fairway bunkers aren't really in play. The fairways are wide. It's a really flat golf course. The only real defense is the greens are heavily sloped from back to front, but nothing that like the standard PGA Tour courses don't have week in and week out. So a pretty simple breakdown here. I'll bring up some comp courses as well briefly. Sedgefield, I think, is a decent crossover. Another Donald Ross design that we've seen featured on the PGA Tour, as well as TPC Twin Cities. We've seen a lot of crossover between the leaderboards there. Tony Finau's been really good at both. TPC Twin Cities, about the same golf course, but obviously has a lot more water hazards. And then I think just some of the other general wide open golf courses that we see, like TPC Craig Ranch, host of the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson. Vedanta Vallarta, I think, is a little bit similar, although it's one of the weakest fields of the entire year. It's just kind of a grip it and rip it and go and score as much as possible. So just looking at guys who usually tear it up in birdie fests and have that approach and putting upside again to go and reach that winning score. But kind of my breakdown there. Any questions or anything you wanted to bring up, Joe, before we go and jump in this odds board here, my friend?
Not really. I'm looking at a lot of the same things that you are, and I think this is just like you said. There's just not much penalty here, and it's definitely not Oakmont.
No, definitely, we're not going to see a whole lot of pitch out sideways at Detroit Golf Club. But I will say I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do with this renovation, because they're obviously aware of what the golf course is, right? And I do think they want to make it a little bit more of a challenge than what they have right now. So I'm interested to see how they're going to go about doing that. And they're starting that process literally like right after this tournament ends. I believe they're going to try to have it ready for the start of next year. But you ready to jump on into the odds board? Anything else you got to bring up?
Let's get it. I'd like to see more bunkers here.
Yeah, definitely. More fairway bunkers that can come into play. And even the greenside bunkers, there's not really all that many of them. I think there's only 87 bunkers total on this golf course. But top of the odds board here, I will say the top of the odds board, one of the strongest top of the boards in Rocket Classic history. We got Colin Morikawa, the betting favorite, 12-1. Joey, I don't know if you've been on Twitter all that much today, but Morikawa parted ways with Joe Greiner, Max Homa's former caddy, after only just having 5 starts with him. Kind of gave a little bit of a sarcastic / dick answer, I thought, in an interview this morning. His game's not very good right now. He's acting like a baby. I've been there a lot with Colin Morikawa over the years. I'm personally not going to be getting there this week, but he's 12-1 kicking it off. Patrick Cantlay next up at 16. My boy, who can't really call him my boy anymore because I'd be missing out on all these wins. Keegan Bradley is here at 18-1. Apparently got in this morning. Last couple of days for Keegs. And then we got Ben Griffin at 22 and Cameron Young, kind of in the similar vein as Tommy Fleetwood that we were talking about earlier. These are the big 5 to start it off, Joey. Is there any interest to you at the top of this odds board here?
God, dude, Cameron Young being this, like, what are we doing again?
Most tipped
on top of it.
Most tipped.
Yeah, he's done. Put a fork in him.
Most tipped hit last week. I will say Keegs was on most tipped last week.
Yeah, that's a legit guy though. Yeah, no, Keegan, I just have a rule. I don't really do the back-to-back week thing. If you win one the first week, and like you said, he just got in this morning. I'm not on Keegan this week. Morikawa, I've said this in the past. I'm gonna stick true to it now, like you said with the caddy thing. I think that's I mean, I don't feel like this is time, but the thing that I've said in the past is I don't like betting Morikawa in the super low birdie fest type of tournaments or type of courses. I'm going to stick to the plan here. There's no Morikawa in it for me. Uh, Ben Griffin was one that I did really look at. Did you mention him at the top here?
Yeah, he's in the big five of the top. He's deserved that spot.
Yeah, ultimately, I just really don't like the price. But he's in this field, like you said, he's earned that spot. He's obviously a great pick. A couple of wins, second place over the last 2 months here. So you're not going to hear anything negative from me on Griffin this week. Matsuyama, I just can't trust the putter at all. I don't think he makes enough birdies either. He's kind of like a Morikawa for me. But the guy I did get to, and I did get to the top, was Patrick Cantlay.
Oh, you did? Really?
Yeah,
Talk to me.
16 to 1. I'm going to try to find a boost out there. I haven't actually bet this yet, but
Bet 365, 30%.
There we go. Bet 365. He's only played here once on tour in 2022, but he had a runner-up finish there. I think he's just due for a win. He hasn't won a tourney since late summer of 2022. So this is, it's a long stretch here since he's had a victory. He really rates out well in the model. One of the better names in the field, of course, 13th in approach over the last 24 rounds, 13th in birdie or better rate, and strokes gained on par fours. He's 4th on strokes gained for easy courses. Yeah, I'm like I said, why can't he win sometime soon? I think he can, and especially in a field like this. If I'm going to go to the top, it's going to be Patty Canty. Why can't he? 16 to 1, possibly 30% boost there. But yeah, did you end up getting to the top here?
Yeah, I actually went with Ben Griffin. I actually think it is a pretty fair price. I used the Bet 365 boost. I got him. I missed it by like 10 minutes, dude. Got busy at work, wanted to put it in, wasn't able to. Odds went down from 28 to 25, which kind of sucked. But I still think the 25 is a pretty decent price for how Ben Griffin has been playing. I mean, a guy who was, I think, in the 40 to 1 last week at the Travelers Championship, right? In an elevated event against the best players on tour. Never was really in the golf tournament, but still churned out a T14 finish, which is actually his worst result since May 18th. So he's been on a nice run. T8, first, second, T10, T14, and even more so than that, dude. It's just the way he's going about it. I am such a sucker for a guy, even in a birdie fest like this, a guy who's gaining strokes consistently in all 4 major categories. Ben Griffin did that at the PGA Championship, the Charles Schwab Challenge, the Memorial, and Oakmont. I mean, incredible tournaments. And the reason I'm sticking with him in this event is the iron upside has been great. 4.2 strokes last week, again, in a SIG event against the Travelers, 2.6 at Oakmont. And he was right in that tournament until a bad Saturday round kind of took him out of it. 3.2 at the Memorial, 3.5 at the PGA. And then the putter's been excellent as well. He's gained at least 3 strokes with the flat stick in 4 of his last 5 starts. All 5 have been positive. Never finished inside the top 30 here at Detroit Golf Club, but he's gained with his irons around the green and with the putter in both of those starts. He's just been plagued by bad driving here, which is now legitimately a strength of Ben Griffin's. Like, he's gotten way longer. He's gained strokes off the tee in 6 consecutive starts. 4 of those have been for at least 2.2 strokes. So combine that, the fact that he's number 1 in my model this week, rates out really well in like every single stat that I'm looking at. Second in short par 4s, 350 to 400, 4th tee to green, 7th in par 4s in general, 8th in strokes gained putting, 9th in approach, 11th in opportunities gained, 13 in bonus putting, which is putts inside 5 feet and putts outside of 25 feet. So can roll them in from all over the place. I just thought it was a good price. I've been on Ben Griffin a lot this summer. I didn't cash in on the win at the Charles Schwab Challenge, sadly, but I still think he's in good enough form to certainly take down a field like this. And He's a former mortgage loan officer, dude. It's formerly the Rocket Mortgage Classic. How could I not bet on Ben Griffin and those Aviators here
There we go.
at the Rockets? So I went with Ben Griff. You went with Patrick Cantlay, which I certainly cannot blame you for, even though it has been quite a while since he's won. Been knocking on the door in basically every event that's not a major this year. And last time I checked, the Rocket Classic isn't a major. So I don't hate the Patrick Cantlay play whatsoever from at the top of the board. But moving on down, let's go from 33 to 45 here, Joey. Harry Hall at 33 to 1. Siwoo Kim at 33 to 1. Your boy, the Windy City Flyer at 35 to 1. Davis Thompson at 35. Max Grazerman at 35. And then we got Fitzpatrick, Clanton, and Akshay at 40. Keith Mitchell at 45. Joey, I know your odds checker is a little bit different than mine, but just in general, from 35 to 45, 50-ish, anyone you're peeping in particular?
Yeah, I did really take a strong look at my boy, Keith Mitchell.
Oh, Killer Keith.
45 to 1, I think, was mostly where he was at. I just because of the distance, but I don't trust him to go super low either.
No.
So can't do that.
I can't trust him to make an 8-footer for birdie on Sunday.
Yeah, that's a big part of this. I can't do that, but I did bet, or am going to bet, Harry Hall.
Okay.
35 to 1. The Englishman.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty damn good run for him lately.
Harry
Hall.
Harry.
Been putting really well, of course. Strokes gained putting, he's 4th over the last 24 rounds, 34th in approach, 5th birdie or better rate, and then 15th for bogey avoidance and par 4 strokes gained par 4s, and 26th in scrambling, which he might not need too much of this week, but he finished T9 last week at the Travelers as well, so I think he's coming in here feeling pretty good. I think Harry Hall, he was very well rated out too in the model, so I'm gonna go that route, and that's pretty much it here for this. You said 30 to, what was the range?
About 50.
Yeah, 50. Yeah, that's all I got in here. I actually, and I'm gonna say something that I don't usually ever say.
Oh,
I'm not sure why Wyndham Clark has this good of, I think he should be a little bit lower as far as the odds go this week. I don't think it's a good price for him the way that he's been lately. So
I agree. I think he could be FRL, just like your boy Keith. I think your boy Keith could be FRL. I can't trust either of them over the course of 4 rounds.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
But yeah, when Wyndham's also been throwing temper tantrums left and right. Don't necessarily love where his mental game is at this point in time. Harry Hall makes a ton of sense. 5 consecutive top 25s, including a T19 at the PGA Championship. He's been playing some pretty good golf and truly can roll the rock as well as anyone in this field. This range for me, I got to Grazerman. He hasn't really been playing all that great, but I also think, well, I don't think, I know he's been playing against much better competition because he's been in all these signature events this year. Like his last 7 starts, excluding the Zurich Classic, which is a team event, his last 8 starts actually, Joey, are the Masters, the RBC Heritage, the Truist, the PGA Championship, the Charles Schwab, the Memorial, the US Open, and the Travelers. So he's going up against the best of the best on the PGA Tour week in and week out. Isn't really doing anything like spectacularly, but has started to find his irons once again, gained with his irons in 5 consecutive starts, gained off the tee in 4 consecutive starts, which both parts of his game had left him earlier on in the season, and he was just so reliant on putting. Now he's kind of relying on his ball striking. He's lost putting in 3 consecutive starts, but I know when Grazerman's right, he is one of the better putters on the PGA Tour. T31 here last year was kind of the start of his run later on in the summer where he had all those close calls. The 3M Open, as I mentioned, is a potential comp course. He finished 2nd there and was runner-up to your boy Johnny Vegas bombs last year, which, I mean, I don't even know. You and these fucking long shot calls are just absolutely absurd, dude. I don't even know what to say. But Grazerman 37-1 is who made my card in this range. Did think about Keith Mitchell because I've been on him a few times this summer, but man, it just usually ends in pain. And again, great golf course for him off the tee and with his irons, and he's been so good in both of those this year. I just don't trust Keith to reach 22 under, and he's also missed the cut in both of his starts here, and has lost mega strokes with the putter. So unfortunately, just couldn't get there. But it's Max Grazerman for me in this range. Harry Hall catching your eye here in this middle tier. Moving on, let's go 50 to let's go from 50 to 80. We got my boy Ricky Fowler, Min Woo Lee 50-1, Chris Goddard up 50, Ryan Gerard 50. This is where we start getting into the interesting range of losers, Joey. Ryan Gerard at 50, Smalley at 55, Rasmus Højgaard at 55, Alex Noren at 60, Steven Yeager at 65, and then we'll go Ben On at 65, Thorbjorn Olesen at 66. Who's catching your attention as we start scrolling down a little bit, my man?
Wow, well, this must just be a loser week because I'm not on anybody in here.
No one.
Nobody. I'm just completely bypassing this part of the board, and yeah, I only have 2 bets so far. So
you're taking shots.
I don't know, man. What do you got anybody in here?
Yeah, this range semi-interesting. Minwoo should be a good course fit, but he's been genuinely so bad lately, and even the putter has been bad for him recently, so I couldn't do it. Goddard up is basically Keith Mitchell, but maybe even worse on the greens, which is kind of scary, but absolutely dry. Yeah, no, he's truly, I mean, go and look at his Rick Run Good profile when you get a chance. It's absolutely disgusting, but he's been nuking the golf ball, and kind of in a similar-ish vein, but in a different way of going about it than Harry Hall. Has just been racking up a lot of high-end finishes. Alex Smalley, I bet him a few times this year, but he's a gutless loser on Sunday. Makes a lot of sense. We'll probably finish like T11, and we'll have a round on Thursday or Friday that'll make you think he can truly win this thing. I went with Steven Yeager. I got him at 70-1. My boy, Mr. Yeager Bombs. He's treated me pretty nicely throughout my gambling career, and I just love Steven Yeager on grip and rip golf courses, and that's what this is pretty much. And he's got 2 top 10s here in 4 career starts. Hasn't been all that great for him really since March. He's only got 1 top 10, but massive drop in competition this week. And like Grazerman, because he won last year, Yeager's in all of these signature events, so he's facing much better competition on a weekly basis. But I love what he's able to do off of the tee with the driver. He's going to grip it and rip it here, which he's done to great success in both of his top 10s. When he finished T5 here in 2022, gained 1.6 off the tee, but he's also got great iron upside as well. 4.04 strokes gained in 2023, 4.5 with his irons in 2022, and then with the putter as well. Not only here on this golf course, but that's probably been the most consistent part of his game in general this year. He's gained strokes with the putter in 5 consecutive starts, and basically every one of his high-end finishes on the PGA Tour are a similar-ish style of golf course to this. Won the Houston Open at Memorial Park. It's a tougher golf course than this, but one where you absolutely grip and rip from off the tee. Also, Mexico Open, Vedanta World, finished T3 there in 2024. Also has a 5th year, like I mentioned, in 2022. 2 other top 11 finishes at the Houston Open, a T11 at TPC Craig Ranch. So when you got to go low, when you hit driver as frequently as possible, Steven Yeager is usually a play. And I think 71 is a pretty fair price. He's truly, I would say, probably my favorite bet of the week in terms of value. I think 70-1 is a great price on Steven Yeager.
It is. And he's the best name hands down out of that group.
I agree.
That we mentioned. I think that's a good bet. I do.
Moving on down, we got Matt Wallace at 70. Fry up those grills. Emiliano Grillo starting to play some good golf again. He's at 70-1. We also got Jake Knapp at 80. Michael Kim at I accidentally jumped. Michael Kim and Kurt Kitayama at 75. Jake Knapp at 80. Cam Davis, 2-time Rocket Classic winner. Maybe this event gets named the Cam Davis Classic one day. Chris Kirk's also 80-1. Nikolai Højgaard's 80. Tom Kim's 80. Taylor Moore is 80. And then Victor Perez is 80-1 as well. I'm guessing if you didn't have anyone of interest in the last range, you probably got someone in here, Joey.
Yeah, I like this range.
Okay.
So I almost bet those are the two I looked at, was Mitchell at last, couple ranges back, and then the Grill Master.
He's playing some G.
He's definitely playing. He's playing like, the Grill Master that we've come to know and love.
You're right.
But I just think for him too, it's like, I looked at his approach. Obviously, I think this is a great, like, he's been killing it. But he hasn't reached 20 under since like Trump's first term. So like,
I wish I know the bet to make on Emiliano Grillo this week. It's the most birdie looks inside of 15 feet, but he's going to finish like T16 at -17 because he's not going to make enough of them.
That's it.
He needs a harder golf course where you can't score as much. He can't win. He can't win at this number, man.
He's got a better shot at winning the U.S. Open than he's got winning.
Yes,
I think.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. T19 at the U.S. Open. It probably will be a better finish than he has here.
No, that's why I can't do it, man.
But make a mental note. Emiliano Grillo's playing some G again. Maybe like TPC Twin Cities. That's, winning scores usually around like 15 to 18. That's more feasible. Maybe like St. Jude in a couple of weeks if he qualifies for that. Like, that's usually like a 12 under winning score. That's where I can get down for a Grillo at some big odds.
There's some spots coming up that I definitely would consider him, especially because I know, like you said, the good odds in this field. I think the odds are fine, but I just don't think he's going to do it. Cam Davis, like you said, they might change the name of this tournament. I think 80 to 1 is just a great number for him, but I'm not going to bet him here to do a three-peat it. I also think that like this is a week or a year that it's going to go past 20 under, and like the reason why he was able to succeed too in those years is because he didn't have to go so low.
Dude,
so like
I was here last year, and this tournament, I think the lead was -16 going into Sunday, and everyone who was in contention, because guess what? They were fucking jabronis who were nervous under the pressure. Everyone played like shit on Sunday. Cam Davis shot 2 under in the final round, which at Detroit Golf Club is sorry. And he won. I remember, dude, he in the interview room after the tournament, he was shocked that he won the golf tournament. Akshay should have won this thing. He had a birdie putt to win it on the 72nd hole and ended up 3-putting. That's how Cam Davis won. So, 18 was the winning score last year, but there was a lot going on because of that.
We know that that's really not what it should be, you know?
I agree. 80 to 1 is a good number, though.
Great number.
Tee to green here, he's gained 8.5 strokes tee to green in 3 of his last 4 starts here.
No, he's got a tremendous track record. Like
he fucks here. He's gonna be so mad that they're renovating this place. He's probably picket signing out front of Detroit GC as we speak, dude. He's furious.
He's gonna end up getting arrested. There's the next Scotty Scheffler right before the next Rocket Mortgage next year.
For real.
I do have a couple though that I did bet here. I like Chris Kirk.
Okay.
At 80 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly lighting it up recently, but he was T12 at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I looked at him too.
You did? Okay. So we're kind of, I think we're pretty similar here then. He has a good overall history here at Detroit Golf Club. T44 last year, but T21 or better each of the 4 years prior. He's been very good with proximity from that 100 to 150 yard bucket range, 8th and 9th in the field, respectively, over the last 24 rounds. 38th in strokes gained approach. I don't know if he'll be able to make enough birdies.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
The putter, it's been letting him down.
It's been bad.
I still thought, worth a flyer here at 80 to 1 if I feel pretty good otherwise. And he's a guy that's obviously had a lot of wins. So 80 to 1, he's a guy that can close. I feel good about it if he's in position. Taylor Moore, 80 to 1, 5th in strokes gained at Detroit Golf Club. Each of his last 3 years, he's finished 6th, T4, and T10. Were the last 3 years here. So I think that was enough too to get me on Taylor Moore. Those are the two here in this range. I don't think did we make it past that? We just went to 80, right?
Yeah, we just went to 80.
Yeah, you got anybody here?
First, I do want to say two guys that I looked at pretty hard this week, and that's funny. You noticed kind of the same thing that I noticed about Chris Kirk. Like T12 at the U.S. Open,
All right.
he's also now gained strokes with his irons in 6 consecutive starts. He's a really good wedge player. That's always Chris Kirk's bread and butter. I had the same concerns. Like, can he make enough putts? That was kind of like everyone who I was on the dividing line of this week. Like, there's so many guys who I can see play well, and obviously you mentioned Chris Kirk's history here, has played well in the past. Like, I feel like he's a top 20 lock. I just don't know if he's going to make enough putts. That's what it ultimately came down to for me. But another guy we definitely should make mental note of if he doesn't go on to win this week, because the irons are starting to come back for Chris Kirk, and they've been dog shit all season long. Taylor Moore, too. T19 at the PGA Championship, right? Pretty good result. It's been a quiet year for him, but always does well at the Rocket Classic. And I looked back at Taylor Moore in particular, and going into the Rocket Classic in 2024 and 2023, he was playing basically like he is right now. Like, no consistency, dog shit all over the place, and then still wound up finishing T4 in 2023 and T10 in 2024. Incredible putting and driving upside here. Loves just nuking the golf ball off the tee. That's what he can do at this golf course. Has gained at least 1.2 off the tee in all 3 starts. Has gained at least 2.3 with the putter in all 3 starts here as well, including 5.9 strokes in 2024 and 9.9 in 2023. So definitely can get red hot on these greens. He was one of the last guys left off of my card, and it was just because there isn't that consistency in his game, even though I know it kind of doesn't really matter to him at this golf course. But 2 real savvy plays, I think, from down in this range, Joey, if you're going to wind up betting on both of those guys. For me, I wound up going with one of my boys who's also been quietly playing really good golf as of late, Big Dick Vic Perez, the Frenchman. Boom.
Nice.
T19 at the U.S. Open, right there through 36 holes. T9 at the RBC Canadian Open. And I forgot to mention during my intro, I really do think we don't have enough data really on TPC Toronto, but I do think that's a pretty good-ish comp course to Detroit Golf Club. T9 there for Vic Perez. Also had a T13 at the Myrtle Beach Classic. T18 at the Houston Open. The iron play has been awesome. 6.8 strokes gained at the U.S. Open. Like, that's fucking legit good-ass iron play against probably the strongest field in professional golf. And then 5.8 strokes with his irons at the Canadian Open. He's been much more steady from off the tee lately. Has gained in 4 of his last 5. He's got the putting upside whenever he does gain strokes with his putter, which has happened 6 times in his last 9 starts. Each of them have been for at least 1.4 strokes. So I like his upside with the irons and with the putting play. And also, basically, again, another guy who kind of like Steven Yeager, a lot of his best results on the PGA Tour have come in similar-ish events. Puerto Rico Open, I forgot to mention as a crossover course. T3 there in 2024. Also was T9, like I mentioned, at TPC Toronto. T10 at the Renaissance Club, which is an interesting golf course where you can kind of just grip it and rip it from off the tee. So I also T12 at the PGA Championship at Oak Hill, which is a Donald Ross designed golf course. So there's kind of some interesting nuances there on Vic Perez. In low key, I swear to God, I've bet on Vic Perez 3 times. This will be the 3rd time I've bet on Vic Perez in the last year. The other times he finished 4th at the men's Olympic golf competition, which was crazy. He shot like 63 on Sunday to make a charge for the bronze medal. Unfortunately fell just short. And then I also bet him at the Valspar this year, and he was right there in the mix going into Sunday. So I feel like I kind of got a good finger on Vic Perez-ish spots. And for a guy who finished T19 at the U.S. Open, T9 in Canada, I thought 80-1 was a pretty good price. But I was torn between Perez, Moore, and Chris Kirk as well, all in this range right before 100, Joey.
That's a good pull by you on Vic. It wasn't somebody I even had in my on my radar this week. But like you said, the course comps, and I could see that being really strong. And you must be the Vic Perez whisperer then. Like,
I got to get a baguette signed by this guy someday or something, dude.
You got to get an outright on him, but
I
it's
know.
like you're right there. Well, I don't know. Might be something I might have to tail you on this week.
Maybe next week at the JDC, if he cashes for me this week, or if he plays next week after a good week this week and I'm on him again next week, I'll just go buy like a beret, start smoking long cigarettes, hit the golf course, and just boom, just give him some good French commentary out there on the course.
There you go.
I do love me some Vic Perez, but getting into the long shots now here, Joey, as we're closing in on an hour. We're at about 45 minutes. Don't want to spend, a redonkulous amount of time here on the Rocket Classic, but we definitely got to talk some long shots before we get out of here, my friend. Let's just go from 90 to 150 here, wide open. There's a bunch of different names. I'm not going to spend the time to list every one of them off. But I got some plays from down here, man. I think guys can make a run from down here in this type of week. So I'm curious to see who you're kind of eyeing at this point.
Yeah. I'm gonna start at 90.
Yeah.
Right outside of it. Rico. Oh yeah.
Oh fuck, dude. I'm not there this week, and this is gonna give me FOMO.
Yeah,
but I don't know if he makes enough putts.
I'm with you. Trust me.
I'm with you.
I'm with you. I mean, the irons and putting have been very spotty, like both, or just bad.
His driver's so good.
But dude, I mean, yeah, you know what? He showed it last year. T6 here last year. Showed well in the model. He's 9th in strokes gained on easy courses too. 6th in good drive percentage. Obviously, like you said, he could really nuke it. 20th also in that proximity from 100 to 125 yards, which he'll probably be taking more approach shots from than the other one and further out because he's got the long driver. So, 18th in distance, 17th birdie or better, which I like. Let me have it. I know it's going to give you I can see it all over your face, but I do. I think this could be a good week for Rico. Oh yeah.
Oh, it should be. It should be a good spot for Rico. T11 at Houston this year, wide open golf course where you can rip driver. T12 at Corrales, wide open golf course where you can rip driver. Like it's Rico's bread and butter, dude. And another video I'm definitely gonna have to send you. PGA Tour on their Instagram, they put out a compilation of all the best drivers off the deck on this course the last couple of years, because just how flat the course is. You can go driver off the deck a lot here. And Rico just fucking mashes driver off the deck. And when I was here last year, I saw Rico go on his nice weekend run. He had like a 64 in the final round or something crazy. And I was watching him play and watching him hit the driver. I was like, oh my God, if this guy can figure out anything else, he's going to be a specimen. And then I went on to, when did I bet Rico? He lost in a playoff and it made me so sad last season. I had Rico at, what bum ass event was it?
3M?
No, it was the ISCO. All he had to do was make par on the 72nd hole, and he Tommied it and won. Well, I guess Tommy did worse. Rico missed this par putt, went into a playoff and got eliminated. I really thought I was going to cash that one. But what I will say about Rico, we have bentgrass/POA greens here in Detroit. He putts really well on bentgrass. It's legitimately the only surface he can putt on. Everywhere else, he's absolutely lost. So, I have major FOMO on Rico Hoey again, and another guy I wanted to get to, but I just questioned if he could make enough putts. Who else you got though in this long shot range? I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No,
but I just love Rico Hoey so much.
Not at all, because I'm not really. I know it's a long shot week, but I feel like I kind of crammed a lot in.
You do have Cantlay. I forgot you have Cantlay at 16.
Yeah, I got Cantlay up at the top, and so I was like, all right, well, 80 to 90 is good if I'm gonna sprinkle in quite a few there. Outside of that, like Cam Champ was very interesting to me. I thought Henrik Norlander was also, him winning is like yikes. I don't actually see that happening. I think he's probably more so a top 20 contender. There were some other names in here too, but that's it, man. I don't actually have anybody. I think Woodland is obviously, he's a good name down here in the shitty field, a shitty-ish field. And I think he, off the tee, like he can, Yeah, I don't know. I was looking at Woodland as well, but I don't think he's going to make enough birdies either.
Agreed. There
So
are so many guys who this is an excellent course for off the tee who just sadly won't make enough 15-footers.
it's terrible that way.
So
Um,
many interesting guys.
and Lee Hodges, this isn't a difficult course at all, so this is not for him, or difficult field. But I don't know, man. That's it. That's all I got from the 150. I have somebody back a little further. You got anybody from? I'm sure you do. Yeah,
I do, but from 9 minutes ago, I accidentally did not see these comments from Anthony. I apologize. Ricky, I think one round, like 1 to 2 rounds, he'll flash you good stuff. And then those other 2 rounds, he's just not going to look very good, man. Ricky, I can't trust him over 4 days' time, but I will love him forever for cashing me one of my biggest tickets ever here in 2023. The winning number, I would guess somewhere between 21 and 23. That would be my estimate.
I was gonna say 23. So yeah,
You're gonna have to reach 20 for sure, in my opinion. Rain in the forecast too some days, which could make for a wetter golf course earlier on in the morning before it gets scorching hot in the afternoon. So yeah, it's gonna be a true birdie fest. But Joey, I am all aboard the long shots this week, my friend. I have 5 more bets to give out.
Oh,
I have 5 more bets to give out still.
you
First
didn't start
one,
that high though with Griffin, so
yeah, I got Griffin at 25, and then I got Grazerman at 37, and then my next guy is Jaeger at 70. So I'm playing with some guys down the board here this week, starting off with Cameron Champ. 130 to 1, maybe one of the most high ceiling, low floor players on the PGA Tour in recent years, because it's legitimately, he's going to mix or he's going to miss the cut. You're going to know what you're going to get from Cam Champ very early, but he's 8th in my model this week, which I think for someone who's 130 to 1 is pretty noteworthy. 3rd in strokes gained putting, 4th in driving distance, 7th in bogey avoidance, 12th opportunities gained, 18th in approach, and 19th in bonus putting over the last 24 rounds. What do you got to do at Detroit Golf Club? You got to drive it far, you got to pitch it close, and you got to make putts. And Cam Champ can do all of those things. And it's not a surprise that he's got 2 top 20s here in his career. Most birdie fests on the PGA Tour, a lot of them coming in the fall against weaker fields. That's usually when he thrives. Won at the Country Club of Jackson in 2018, won that at -21. He's also got 2 top 10s at Vedanta for the Mexico Open, won the 2021 3M Open, which, as I've mentioned a couple of different times, has some crossover here historically in the leaderboard to the Rocket Classic. And then he's got 3 top 16 finishes and 6 starts on the PGA Tour here this season. Gains strokes off the tee in massive bunches every time that he plays here. 2.4 last year, 1.9 in 2023, 2.7 in 2022. He even gained 5.7 off of the tee in 2020 because he just crushes it truly like few guys can in this field. Maybe no one outside of Aldi Potts. So yeah, Cam Champ, 130 to 1. It's been since 2021. It's been since 2021 since he's won, but he's got 3 wins in his PGA Tour career. So I said, why not at 130 to 1, which is, I believe, still available out there on Fanatics. Another guy I got 130 to 1, Austin Eckroat. It's been a dog shit 2025 season for Austin Eckroat, and I really expected it to go better as he won twice on the PGA Tour last year. It looked like he was kind of starting to find his groove. He's only got 1 finish inside the top 20 this year, but I do still think this is a good golf course for him when his game is right. And he looked good through 2 rounds at the Travelers Championship last week. I believe he wound up being the first round leader last week, if I remember correctly, and gained 5.3 strokes with his irons. He's gained with his irons now in 5 of his last 7 starts in general. Even though he's been horrible here, I do still think this is a good golf course for him. And a guy who's won twice in the last year overall, at 130 to 1 against this field, it was good enough for me to buy. So I got in on Austin Eckroat. I also got Matt McCarty at 160 to 1.
Interesting.
Joey, Matt McCarty this season finished T20 at the Players Championship, T14 at the Masters, and has a T4 at the RBC Canadian Open, which, as I talked about earlier, TPC Toronto, I think could be a comp course. You're telling me a guy who's done that this year? I know everything in between has not been very consistent, but T20 at the Master, or T14 at the Masters, T20 at the Players, T4 in Canada 2 weeks ago, and has a PGA Tour win. He's 160-1. That just feels like a pretty good bargain to me. And there's clear putting upside with Matt McCarty. 7.2 strokes gained at the RBC Canadian Open. When he won during the fall, he gained 6.5 strokes with his putter. So he can get absolutely scorching hot with that club. 3 strokes gained with his irons at the Masters, another 2.7 with the putter. So that's kind of his game. 160-1. That was good enough to me. Before I go any further, I got 2 guys left. I got one at 200 and then one at 250. I know you said you got another guy you still want to mention. How far down is he in the 200 range, or is he somewhere in between? I don't want to skip your guy. I don't want to skip your guy before we wrap things up here.
Yeah, no, for the odds checkerboard, he is 200 up.
He's 200. Okay. Who you got at 200-1, or is he bigger than that?
Bigger than that. 220.
220. All right. I got a guy at 200.
Okay.
I got Joe Highsmith, Joey Bucket Hats.
All right. Yeah.
T8 at the PGA Championship, won at the Cognizant Classic earlier this year. Another guy who can just get flaming hot with the putter. 200-1, Joe Highsmith. Why not?
I don't mind at all.
Don't really have much to say other than that, besides he's a guy who won this year and has finished top 10 in a major championship and is 200-1 at the Rocket.
I mean, we're Joel Damon guys, so if we're going Joel Damon bucket hat, we're gonna Joey Highsmith guys too. Why not?
100%. I got one guy left at 250. Who else you got in here, Joey? Who you got?
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Is it Adam Schenk?
No.
Okay, that was my guess.
Sorry, let me look and see what he is on the odds checkerboard. He is 220.
I just had to guess if it was Adam Schenk. Who is it?
No, we do bet Adam Schenk every now and then. The Shankopotamus hasn't made his way on my card in quite some time though. And really, I don't know. I have bet this guy before, but not. I don't know. I don't even remember the last time. But I got Adam Hadwin.
Let's go. I got him too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, you got a great number. Then.
There's a 250 out there. Where did I get that at? I'll go digging and I'll find it for you, but there is a 250 out there.
All right, I might need to grab whatever you got.
Let's do it. Adam Hadwin, come on.
I just think, dude, I think it's a nutty number for Hadwin. He's 31st in birdie or better rate. He in the last 24 rounds, 12th in strokes gained at Detroit Golf Club. 14th on easy courses. It's enough for me. I think name value sake at this stage, if you're just looking for certain things, if you're 12th in strokes gained at Detroit Golf Club for me, I'm like, all right, fuck it. Let's let it ride at 220. So if you're on him too, hell yeah, let's go.
I love that.
What if this is the one that we freaking do? Are we on anybody of the same outside of that?
I don't think so, unless you're gonna wind up on like Jaeger.
No, I did say I might tell you on that. Yeah, maybe. I gotta make sure that the funding works out. I got a certain like. I gotta make a certain. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm. So, I know how it be. You got your set amount. You got to make a certain amount.
Yeah, we'll
see if he squeaks in.
The Cantlay one might have killed it, but I'll definitely be looking at that. So tell me why you're on Hadwin. Is it similar?
Yeah. By the way, have you looked at his profile on rickrungood.com this year?
I mean, there's a lot of not good.
Dude, no, it's not that there's a lot of not good. There is like no good. like he has been, this is ultimately why I bet Adam Hadwin. First off, he's good at Adam Hadwin's spots. Okay. He popped randomly a T9 at the WM Phoenix Open. Let me pull up his history at the WM Phoenix Open. Okay. He always fucks at this course because he's from Scottsdale. T9 in 2025, T10 in 2023, T12 in 2017, T17 in 2016. Adam Hadwin can pop at Adam Hadwin spots. It's his only good finish basically of the entire season. Did hang around through 3 rounds at the RBC Canadian Open, had an awful Sunday, wound up finishing T27, but his week was truly better than that. His final round was just horrible. And then he was there through 2 rounds last week at the Travelers Championship, but again, just had a horrible weekend. But I do feel like 2 things are happening here. 1, Adam Hadwin's starting to figure it out a little bit. And 2, with the PGA Tour cutting down the number of cards, Adam Hadwin's job is legitimately in jeopardy. legitimately in jeopardy. And I don't think there's a better spot for him the rest of the season to get a win to save his career than Detroit Golf Club. And 250-1 for a guy who's finished inside the top 4 2 of the last 4 years. I was on him here in 2023 when he lost to Ricky in a playoff. I actually had one of my best betting weeks of all time, Joey. I had Hadwin, Ricky, and Taylor Pendrith, who were all in the final pairing together on Sunday.
Holy shit. I do remember. Yeah.
And your asshole buddy, Colin Morikawa, shot like 64 on Sunday and almost stole all my glory from me. I'm going to send you a video of the putt that he lipped out on the 72nd hole that would have won him the tournament. My stomach was in knots watching that putt to the hole. But come on, Hadwin can putt here. 9.9 strokes gained last time he was here. He's gained at least 2.5 in all 4 starts at Detroit Golf Club. Both of his high-end finishes here, he's gained multiple strokes with the irons. The game's in dog shit form, but that's why he's 250-1 against these guys. So, Adam Hadwin, you're fighting for your life. You're fighting for us this weekend, baby. Let's do it. 250-1.
Did you mention earlier in the show or when we were talking about the Valspar too? That course?
I wouldn't say it's a comp to this one, but I did mention Vic Perez. I bet at the Valspar, and he had a high-end finish there. But obviously, Adam Hadwin, lone PGA Tour win.
That's his win. That's
the Valspar.
I remember you. Okay, that's what it was. You were talking about Vic. Yeah, but maybe there's a little bit of crossover there somehow. Maybe. I know it's not that big, but I don't know. Yeah, do it. Let's do it, baby. Come on, Hadwin. Why not?
Absolutely. Anyone else you wanted to shout? I have a couple of names from down here that I did think about real quick, but this is basically all I really had.
We probably should. I mean, you should probably shout out your guys, but I do have a question way back.
Hit me.
What are your thoughts about Fitzpatrick this week? Because I know he's pretty hot with the putter. So that was just somebody. I know it's way back, and I probably should have mentioned it a lot sooner.
No, you're good.
Him and really Seamus Power too.
Okay, you love Seamus, man.
Yeah, I know he hasn't been good lately, but like I feel like this could be a really good spot for him too.
You do have a good read on Seamus Power because every time you say that, it's at a course where wedges matter, and that's what Seamus Power can do.
He does, yeah.
He can hit wedges in two top 12s in his career here. Good putting. I don't know if I actually trust Seamus Power to win. I feel like there's a way for you to make money off of Seamus Power. It's just probably not in the outright market. Fitzpatrick, I've never been a huge Matty Fitz guy because he has been reliant on his putter so much through in his career, and those guys are just like hard for me to bet on because you're basically betting on a guy to keep making putts, and I'd rather trust ball striking than putting always. But T8 at the PGA, T17 at the Travelers. And after like legitimately like 2 years of being ass, he's starting to get out of a hole.
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame you if you did make a bet on Matt Fitzpatrick. I don't know if I love it as an outright bet again, but he's definitely starting to get closer.
I feel like there was 1 week in particular, maybe it wasn't the US Open because we didn't even have a show. What was the other?
The PGA, he balled
the PGA that we were looking at. We were like, nah, not Matty Fitz. And
I think you brought him up. I'm pretty sure you brought him up, and he finished T8 that week and was, I think, in the final pairing on Saturday.
Yeah, so I mean, this is definitely like a good field for him too. Like, I don't know, man. I have a feeling like those two guys. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not betting either one of them. I just have a weird feeling that those two guys are going to be in the top 10 this week.
Matt Fitz,
top 20 maybe.
Matty Fitz, maybe you parlay them together. But Matty Fitz is definitely one to start keeping an eye on. Just looking, I'm looking at some of his. I don't think he makes enough putts here. Is the thing.
Yeah, that's fair too. Well, no, I think he's gonna not that. I think he's gonna putt.
I don't think he's gonna. Never mind. Well, hold on. Sorry. I worded that really poorly. He does better in harder scoring events because his short game is so good. And like
it makes up for the rest of his game.
He makes putts that other guys don't make. And I feel like this course is so easy. Like his skill set isn't going to truly rise here, if that kind of makes sense. I'm a little bit torn on Matty Fitz myself, so I can't really explain it any better than that. But I just feel like I like him better on harder courses in general.
Yeah, that could be too. But like when we do look at some of the harder courses, I'm like, there's always somebody that has a better approach or better driving skill set too. So it's tough for me to even do that too. You know what I mean? It's why we don't get to them very often.
No, I legit never bet Matt Fitzpatrick. I probably bet him 3 times max in my entire 5 years betting on golf.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't bet on guys who are so reliant on the putter.
Yep. No, 100%.
Last guy I'm going to shout out, John Pack, 600 to 1.
Holy
Back-to-back top 30s. Was right in the mix at the Charles. I think he was leading the Charles Schwab Challenge going into the weekend. I like him better at the 3M Open, but he was I think 1,000 to 1 to open this week, and I saw a couple of people who have some good followings on X in the golf community say they bet him 1,000 to 1. So I'm kind of hoping some people are jumping on. He's going to finish like shit this week, and then I'm going to get back on it at the 3M when no one else wants to get on. But John Pack, Pedro, my boy Pedro, big fan of John Pack. Gave John Pack a shout out this week, so something to keep an eye on. Maybe he's a first round leader guy, but yeah, he was worth the shout out. First round leader bets. I'm Keith or Wyndham. 50% chance one of them is leading this tournament after 18 holes, and neither of them are going to win it after 72.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that, or I could see myself taking a shot at Seamus Power just to say I did, or Norlander even actually.
Norlander is so frustrating. He's like the best iron player rating out every week, and then I swear, never has good finishes.
Yeah.
He's annoying. But anything else got to bring up on the Rocket Classic? Just over an hour. That's usually our cue to tie a bow on things. Any final thoughts, Joey? Anyone we leave out? We cover everything? We all good?
I mean, for this thing here, this is just like you said, it's gonna be a birdie fest, probably 21 to 23 under. I'm gonna say it's probably that's my guess would be 23, and we'll see what actually happens. But like you said, there might be a little bit of rain in the forecast, so that's not gonna. I think it's only gonna make it even that much easier for these guys, and we don't have to worry too much about the slopes. Like you said, though, it's not anything that they don't see on these easy tracks. So I don't know, man. This is one of those tournaments where if you have something to do this weekend, I'm not saying like golf fans here, and maybe Jack, maybe that's you taking the phone out on the boat till it dies, watching it out on a boat. Go ahead and do that. I know I'll be doing some prepping this week for 4th of July, getting ready for next week. So I won't catch everything, but definitely.
Oh, no. You're not going to catch everything in the Rocket Classic?
Yeah, I don't know who. Well, are they even going to be showing all the Rocket Classic? That's another question. But no, man, that's pretty much it. Hopefully we cash it out right here and
dude,
keep it rolling.
Yeah, I got some big things coming up, some weddings. I got the trip to the John Deere next week. So let's get some Adam Hadwin money in the bank account heading into the John Deere Classic next week. PGA Tour's coming to our neck of the woods. Would be great to have some extra Skrilla to go and celebrate out at TPC Deer Run. But
what about that John Pack money?
True.
That John Pack money would be nuts.
Gonna hit different. Say your P's to Pedro. He won. Do you know what Queen of the Court is, or like King of the Ring that DraftKings does, or like King of the Diamond? Yeah, he did it in the WNBA the other day, and had Aaliyah Boston to have the most combined points and rebounds she hit. He got a $230 free bet out of that, and he put it on a 7-leg parlay this week of 7 guys to make the cut to cash like our grand. So say best of luck to my boy Pedro this week. Say best of luck to us and to Adam Hadwin. Would be one of the most epic squad rides of all time, but I think that's going to take care of for us over here at Golf on Tap. Thank you again to everyone who tuned in. Be on the lookout for our show dropping next week, as I'm going to have boots on the ground at the John Deere Classic. We'll be having a best bet show likely coming out next Wednesday as well. Thank you all again for tuning in to show support. Go and subscribe to On Tap Sportsnet on YouTube. Check out ontapsportsnet.com. Got all of your latest Chicago sports news and coverage, as well as everything that's going on in the golf world. So till next time, everyone, thank you again. Crack 'em, lock 'em,
and fuck 'em. And my vote is for you, Pedro.